Hi there! My name is Isabel, or otherwise... Oh, I'm doing a fantastic job right off the bat. Otherwise known as Poison Jackal. Most of you know me, but just in case you're new here, well, you know, I said those things backwards. Welcome to my first sketchbook tour. I picked a sketchbook tour next on my list of videos to try out, just to... it sounded easy and simple, which was appealing, and I wanted to do one for a while. I had a few of them filmed already because last year, sometime I think it was, I did a market and I took some pages out of sketchbooks as like things to sell. So I figured I'd film all my sketchbook tours before that and then cut the pages out and then they should be good to go. However, not all of them sold. In fact, like 2 of them sold, so I have a lot of them still here. And when I checked back on the footage of that I did of this particular book here, it was a little bit blurry, so I thought, cool, I've still got all the pages that I took out, and I will have another go. And I think my white balance is a bit funky. Oh no, it's the exposure. That's a bit better. How do I feel about... Oh! Okie doke. So this book, it says on the cover that it's from 2012 to 2018. There is also a little pencil mark that says 2011, so I think it must be from 2011, I don't know. I was a big Pierce the Veil fan at the time, so I have a little piece of tape with a lyric that I related to. A little bit of water staining on the back. And then this was a shipping label. I don't know when I got hold of it, but I put like kind of a sneaky sleepy dragon on there and stuck that on in. So let us commence. Page 1 is an attempt at impasto gel. I'd been shown how to do it by someone, and then I had to go and it didn't go well. I think they used probably watercolor paper or something, so I don't know. I don't know exactly what I was trying to do either, and I think that there is another attempt possibly at the end of this book. Page 2. I don't need to count the pages, it's okay. Alright, so that... I don't know what date that is. That could be an 11. I've written it very small. I like to stick my old movie tickets into the book. So that was from watching Transformers. I think it's the one with the dinosaur, but I don't know, I can't remember. Back in 2017, long time ago. Things will be out of order, by the way. So, but yeah, this is a glimpse back into... I still am obsessed with dragons, but I was drawing them a lot more when I was younger. When I went through high school, my teacher kind of squished that a little bit, and I really haven't drawn any, or very, very rarely drawn dragons since then, which is something that I would like to change. But I remember just, this used to be like kind of a flow state drawing where like you'd get this like gesture line and then just make a dragon out of it almost, so. Love that, miss it, yeah. Back in the days where you would draw something perfectly from A to B rather than like building it from blocks and figuring out how to do stuff slowly, so. We have got testing golds against green and yellow backgrounds for cards. So this is where I made a card for my sister's birthday. I was painting a snake, and then I think I remember having issues with waterproofing, ink pens and so on. Everything smears or lifts a little, could be solved with a few extra days of drying for the Indian plus acrylic. Wait, pencil didn't... I don't know what that says. Good luck. Smear? Pencil didn't smear? I don't know. That's probably an English word. Okay, and then the other side of this. Back when I, like, This is one of my first sketchbooks. I didn't date anything back then. I do date pretty much everything now because I like the being able to see that kind of stuff. Secret Life of a Rat. I used to have rats when I was a kid, so I was probably... I don't think I still had them when I drew this, but I liked the idea of that Tom and Jerry mouse hole, you know? Like, how could you not know that you have mice, but there's such an obvious little entranceway for them? This side is a bunch of circles where I was hoping to come up with thumbnail ideas for putting something onto these. I never did, but my ideas were basically, oh yeah, jackal, succulents, my mum's cats. Apparently, I think I was inspired by Robin Sealock at the time, so I've got water as like waves or something like that. And then for some reason I wrote fish, and I don't know why I wanted to paint a fish because that doesn't sound fun to me. I've written at the bottom, paint this, and then scribbled it out. That says Moon Mafia with push and pull for some reason on the same doors. I don't watch horror movies or anything like that. There's like a little son with a grenade and all sorts of stuff. I don't know. It's maybe a shower thought or something, you know. I'm trying my best here. I'm manually controlling everything, so. Okay, this is a fun page. This, I don't know if I can see where it is, but I remember trying to draw a naked lady and then getting really scared of it and just covering it with some abstract shit. For reference now, I draw naked people once a week. I draw them all the time, so like I'm completely fine with it, but I would have been, you know, teenager like, oh no, if someone's gonna think I'm using this nefariously or something, so I scribbled over it, got rid of it, never went back. Oh, okay, this one says 2011, so the book is indeed from 2011, but we'll start with this page. Okay, so had my first intentionally vegan meal today. Also ate Max chicken though on the 17th of February. I do not know what year that would be. Maybe towards the end of the book, 2018. This is apparently my cat. Apparently I had fish, so she was just staring at them. Where's the point? Oh, there we go. Next page is a self-portrait attempt. Self-portrait attempt. Yep. Didn't draw a lot of people, so this was pretty good for me at the time. I would have been happy with that. What, bro? Yeah? What's wrong? Do you want freedom? Oh, you know what? Here we go. Next page. A bird from 2011. I think I was at my Nana's house when I did this. I have a faint memory of that. I think it was on a tin. Cookies or sewing supplies, who knows? This is a sketch of the backyard that I was living in 2018, by the sounds of it. I wrote a note, if we're still here, to pull out all the nightshade before February in 2019. I assumed that it was a seasonal weed, but I mean, it kind of is a seasonal weed. That's like a really old lawnmower, I think. That was probably around, like, I don't know, until the last few years, I had a much harder time with just sitting down to do a bit of art, so I think I sat there for a good 10 minutes or so, kind of like punching myself over not being able to draw before finally doing an observational drawing, so. Here's a nice dragon from 2011. I like this one a lot. Somehow I added like a sunburst and like there's some scales and a little rabbit and he's got a club tail. Pretty cool stuff. That'll be trying to draw Rain from Life. I've written she's so dang fast. I hope I get faster at drawing from this. That's 2018. This is a skeleton of a cat, and so I remember having the reference of the living cat on my phone and then trying to imagine. Possibly also I had a reference of a cat skeleton, so I was trying to like put the bones where I thought that they would go on the living cat. That was fun. I like this one a lot. This is a copy of something by Stephanie Law. It says 2018 there. And then a little dragon that would have been from 2011. Little chibi sleeping baby. Guardians of the Galaxy 2. And then I don't know if that's Rain or if that is this cat. I believe we were house sitting at the time, so it could have been that cat. But this is giving Rain vibes, so I'm not sure. Tongue Blem Clean. A little monster guy asking for a hug. I definitely drew that in high school. That's very my best friend coded. Some more Stephanie Law copies. I have like a little hummingbird. I love Stephanie Law. I haven't caught up on her stuff for a while, but definitely love the fantasy vibe. Modern Soldiers, Christchurch Soldiers, which is everyone was making a big deal at the time of how many road maintenance people there were. Like, there's always cones around, so I thought that drawing them as soldiers with like shovels and brooms and sledgehammers and hard hats was kind of funny. This is a random face where I think I'd gone to my dad and said, what should I draw? So he grabbed my book off me and added, I think, the eyelid lines. He just drew those 2 lines and then he's like, use that to draw something. So I drew this face. And when I showed him again, he was like, oh, I meant for those to be eyebrows, not eyelids, but oh well. You drew something, good job, like, yeah. Alright, let's do a little zoom in on this page. I think I was trying to draw a cat from memory, maybe? No, that can't be right, because if I wrote head too big, then I would have had a reference to compare it to, so I'm not sure which cat that is. That almost doesn't look like my drawing, but maybe it is, and I just was having a bad time. There's a nice foot here. I like that. Maybe she just has a big head. Nah, I just suck. I think that's Rain on a cushion. So I guess I drew Rain there, and I didn't like it. Alright, this is really old. This is what I thought my magnum opus was going to be when I was in, like, 2011, I think. Where it was going to be basically like a giant like montage collage of horses and saddles and willow trees and all sorts of stuff. I had full intentions to turn this into a gigantic painting. I will not do that, I don't think. Anyway, it's funny to remember it though. I was definitely very sure that that was going to be like a really grand... It would be a grand painting. I still love horses. I don't draw them as much as I would like to either. Alright, so this is from 2012. This is my friend Bailey, who I think was the inspiration for this guy. And then my other best friend Alika. That would have been my first proper, like, honest to goodness try at drawing faces, and I think I did a pretty good job. I don't think I did tracing. I think I got things in pretty well the right place, but there's a good chance that knowing what I know about how I do faces now, I probably erased a lot. However, the paper does not look that bad. That's really good proportions. I do worse proportions now. Like, my eyes are never on the same plane, so that's really good for 2012 Izzy, who has never drawn faces before. Even getting in there with, like, the blending on the skin to add a different texture for shading, you know? Pretty good. This side is... I think that's Rain's ear. and then some kind of like fantasy crystal keychain thing. This is a cat of some sort, and then also an unfinished attempt at doing a werewolf with wings, which I thought was a cool idea at the time, and I still think is a cool idea. I didn't realize she slowly moved her head to look up as I was doing this, damn it. Such faint lines as well. Sleeping with her head hanging over the edge of the bed. Easiest drawing I've managed, smiley face. And then another dragon. I remember this dragon took me a long time to finish. I would have started it in 2011, and then I think I finished it in 2018. I remember drawing everything apart from the head, and then I eventually did finish the head and colored it in. So that's pretty nice. The blue helps, I've written. Contrast too intense takes focus from dragon. And then the book also got wet while camping, so there's a bit of a bleed. Hunt, Chase, Hunger. I believe this was my first ever attempt at an Inktober, and I was trying to make it all dragon themed. I think this is the only one that I did. It looks like a little dragon hunting a fly. Something here says perspective means too small, so I don't know what that's about. It looks like I used a cat body to inform a lot of it, which was a good idea. Some nightshade berries. I've written, oh, it's one of these pens. I haven't got it in me to steal even a pen. A cone. Pen not good for small eyes. So these look like they must have been blind contour drawings where I had a reference up somewhere and I was not looking at the paper. And then that one, I don't know if that was still blind contour or not. That and that definitely are. The other two, I couldn't tell you, but that one there I think it says dog much, so it mustn't have turned out very, very good. Lovely attempt at a Chinese dragon. Great. Got there in the end. Thor Ragnarok, that was a good movie. Nothing underneath. A couple of rainy sketches. Also a little penis. Another dragon. This looks familiar. I think this is a copy of someone else's dragon. I think here and maybe, yeah, the next page, this guy, were copies from one of the Narnia book illustrations that I must have been reading at the time. Some pencil sketches of dandelion leaves and clovers and things. And that says Evil Max, so that one would have been from a reference. I think it was just my stepmom's horse in like a spring morning or something with mist and steam coming out of his nostrils. Fresh. I was testing out a pen and I think I was trying to write my name in runes, which I was not confident about. And then I don't know what that list is for, but it says milk, gift, and rubbish bags. This looks like it was inspired by American Dragon Jake Long. Nice. Love a strong, independent female character with fantasy powers. Hell yes. I designed some invitations for my school dance, and they turned out pretty cool. So that was the first initial design there. And then there are 2 more pages with more designs, and then this is the final drawing. I definitely didn't know much about design at the time because that basically looks exactly the same as that, and I didn't really change anything apart from the way that it's shaped on the label. I was reading Percy Jackson at the time, so I drew a hippocampus because they're very cool. This looks like some kind of jackal drawing in the orange, and then this is an observational sketch from when I went camping, which is where the water damage there came from. That's me sitting on like an air beanbag. I love these kinds of things. It's a page of black paint with white pencil, and that's just my cat Rain. And a wolf eye that I spent a long time on and then never did anything else with. It's very nicely rendered, but it's so old. Oh, that mark there is a teeny tiny love heart. How close can I get this? Look at that. Anyway. Okay, so I scanned and made the invitation bigger and then colored it in. On Saturday, I should paint the wedding dress. It's so close to being finished. Just do it. Rip, probably gonna wake up at Callum's. Oh. I guess we were having a sleepover. And I think that I was not very happy with Rain at the time. Whoopsie daisy. Perspective shouldn't work unless car on a hill or something. So I drew like a winged fox, and I guess I wanted it to be on a rusty old car. Also, that is in purple ink, and this is very much coming up blue, so weird. This is definitely my favorite spread. That would have been first, where I was trying to copy a page from a magazine, and then I never finished it, so I covered it up with some little tidbits that were inspired by Lee Alexson, and then I did another page of black with white and gold, and that is just so freaking cute. Definitely my favorite page. And like my first ventures into washi tape as well. Oh, it looks like I drew it directly on there. Interesting. Did not see that coming. Another attempt 2 years later at drawing a face. However, this is my younger sister, and she was a child, and children are really hard to draw. Here is her attempt at drawing me, and it's just so much better than mine. Alright, this is the first page that's been removed. This was taken out to be sold at a market, and nobody snatched it up. So it's just a couple of cute little flower sketches from November 2017. When I had it in the market, I was using like a code for pricing because I was told that it's a good idea to have like sets of prices for if you do it wrong. So like the easiest way that I could think of to do that is like, oh, if you massively undercharge, then you can raise it a little bit after a couple of hours. If you're massively overcharging, then you can lower it a little bit after a couple of hours. So instead of changing every single number, I put a code tag, and then I just had like a sheet where it was like cloud is like $10, or like if I had another sheet, it might have been 15 or 5, like if it was wrong. So it was that kind of thing. I never ended up changing my prices because mostly people were just walking around with their hands in their pockets looking at the stuff that was on display. They weren't really rifling through the basket, so I never ended up changing my prices because I figured the interest isn't really there anyway. People aren't touching things to figure out what it is, what they like. So, but anyway, I will put this on my coffee page for sale. I haven't figured out how much for yet. You can take it out of the sleeve and put it into a frame if you want. This is technically A5. 14 centimeters 5.5 inches. We'll do centimeters again. By 21 centimeters, which is, what is that, 8.25 inches? So that might be difficult to frame, but either way. The other cool thing about the code is now, because it's not an ugly number, you could just leave the little cloud there and just blue tack it to your wall and it will be okay. There's nothing on the back of this one, but some other things do have stuff on the back of them. This is a copy of an eye from a manga that I was reading called Maximum Ride, which was my life in high school. I loved that series. Kids with wings, and like twice ever I've had a dream about having actual wings, and they're so good. They're the best dreams. That's from when I was at a honey factory where I was working. So that's just some weird hills. It's sort of not a good drawing, but it's a few hills. I don't know what this is. And then the guy that I went camping with, Max Friend, drew this. This opposing page is testing some metallic watercolors. These things smelled so bad. They smelled like poop on a tray. And I guess those are some Faber-Castell pencils. I didn't use them very much, needless to say. In fact, I think I've put them in the bin. Here's a cat inspired by Tanya Shatseva. She uses a different name now. I think it's Eva Monyo or something. But if you look up Tanya, then you should be able to find some stuff still, I would think. And then this is someone who I used to watch on stream. That's their dog. That's their name there, but they don't stream anymore. So someone, that's like a hand grip. Someone apparently was writing like this with it between their two fingers instead of just normally like that. So I think I drew or possibly tested. I possibly drew that like this just to see how it would feel. I don't know, I can't remember. This is where a wedding invitation goes, so I've taken that out so that you can't see that. And then some, looks like stuff from 2017, a couple of dragons and things. Scuttle, breed, die, frantic, life. God. Might use these pages to practice my handwriting. Oh, I guess I was assuming I would write over top, because I probably didn't like these things very much. That was an attempt at trying the gesture sort of thing again, where you like draw a squiggly line and then turn it into a dragon, and yeah, I don't think I liked how I did that one. Okay, dokie. Now that's a self-portrait, and I drew it using a mirror, which is quite good. We watched Ready Player One with Mac and Jody, my brother. And then in here, I don't know how I would get them out, but those are plane tickets for going, I think, to Wellington for a family reunion. And that is a scene from Wellington while I was up there that I took a photo of, like the spinning doohickeys, windmills, turbines. Here's a plant that I drew and then taped in. And then I have written some stuff in here. I think I must have just been trying to practice pen work and playing with that must be Indian ink. This definitely highlights a lot of anxieties that I had. And still have, but not as bad for sure. There's no magical fix for not wanting to do art. You just have to give it a shot and see what happens. Oh god, okay. And so that's a comic that I drew about a dog committing permanent sleep. Can you read that from here? Wait, he married a cat? That looks like a cat lady. Maybe she's just maybe she's like a collie. I don't know. Anyway, the kid's there. He's pinned in greens, and there's a green button on his hand, and I don't know, whatever. It's so grim, but I drew a comic, hooray! Some observational drawings of plants. This looks like it was at a mall because I recognize those, and I must have been having a hot chockey with my mother-in-law. That's pretty fun. We went, whoops, and saw Black Panther with Mac's sister, and I drew a space helmet guy with a bear ears, and that's from an Easter egg. And this is the second out of 2 pages that is for sale, which is my hand. The reference for this is my hand full of honey, but I made it purple, so, you know, whatever. May 2018. That will be for sale as well when this goes up. So if you're interested, shipping is locked to New Zealand, but if you want it badly enough, let me know and I will figure out how to get it to you and for what price. That will be... Oh yeah, on the back side of this, apparently I used it to plan my bedroom layout. So I remember having some like blue tacked measured things that I could like move around and physically change the location of to see what a good layout might look like just on paper before actually moving everything. I love this drawing. I had some good creative drawings around this time of mid 2018, which is quite cool. It's like a play on gravity. So we've got a girl who has like, I don't know, some kind of studio, and she's got a bunch of anti-gravity cats. Hang on, I haven't had this one for a while. Let's do this. If we turn the page upside down, you see her chilling with the cats on the floor, and they're on some shelves in the windowsill and stuff. And there's one there trying to get up the ladder. Gosh, what would happen if an anti-gravity cat grabbed hold of something with actual gravity? I guess it would just subtract the weight of the cat from the ladder. So if the ladder's heavier, then it will still go up. I don't know. That's pretty fun though. This one as well. I like this a lot. I have no explanation. I remember lying in bed and thinking, I gotta draw a sheep inside of a dice. And then I did it. And I guess the sheep is glowing because the shadows are kind of... I don't know. Some kind of collage-y page. I know that this is glow-in-the-dark paint, but I'm pretty sure that it does not... Oh, it's totally... Is it? I have no idea. I think it's working a little bit. Just for a second, and then... Yeah! I know you saw that. Alright, and then a bunch of cats. I don't know if they're all the same cat. They may be. Yeah, they probably are. This is my friend's dog, Bailey, from earlier on in the book. She got a English bulldog. His name is Bear. He's really cute. So I drew him. This is a sketch that I did as a birthday present for my Australian friend and coffee member Vass. It mixes the game Borderlands with his cats. Here's oh yeah, I did some more thumbnails. I kept trying to figure out a way to make it better and more and stuff, but this one was the final plan. This is best also referenced. Yay. Pumpkin soup. Oh no, I stained pumpkin soup on my book. I think there was a leg under this one, which I didn't like and then redid, but this one I just added it because it was fun. And for some reason it says bend over. Another idea for it was to add a League character. looks off because no feet. Probably could do it anyway. Yeah, so like combining the two, we got Twitch with feet, and then the Psycho is like going off the page, so draw along with Grigori Peppo on Twitch in 2018. And Bless Samoyed tried to create planes. I like the tongue, but yeah, the rest is a bit weird. I drew myself here. I didn't like the face, so I covered it with a sticky note and put on a duck beak. Also, the way that my shirt was folded, my friend was like, girl, you're not that fat, or unless, are you pregnant? And I'm like, God, no. But that was at a craft night with a coworker. I liked it. It was good. I don't remember what we were crafting, but I did do this drawing. My shirt was just baggy. Okay, my shirt, it was just baggy. Here was a nice attempt at trying to draw Hugh Jackman, and it's okay. It's not too bad. Underneath it is the cutest thing I've drawn in my life, and also Rain. Pretty sure Hugh Jackman was my coolest cousin or uncle in my dream. And then this was another dream that I had where my cat was at work with me and she was putting hair in all of the bottles of honey, so I drew that. She was like running around on the conveyor belts, just covered in goo and making a mess. So I like that one a lot. Oh, the spread is so good. Okay, here you go. Have the whole spread. This is where I wanted to swap the patterns of a monarch butterfly and a jaguar, or a leopard, or whatever that ended up being. And I freaking love it so much. So that's obviously, you can see that as the monarch patterns on the jaguar. But then I swapped, honestly it kind of looks the same. I swapped the colors on the monarch so it was dark on orange, and then I also made the spots. That's not too different really from a monarch spots, but made them a bit leopardy. So I was playing around with some colors and things. And apparently Rain drew this teeny tiny line. Yay. Collab. Good page. Maybe the thumbnail, like. That was cool. I drew that at work on some printer paper. Surely it's referenced because it's got quite decent body shaped bits going on. Oh, another duck face. That's fun. God, I hate this. Shall we see what I did? Oh yeah. Yeah, that's like a One Piece character. Or the monster from Monsters Inc. where he gets his scream sucked out of him and then he's got really big lips. Yucky. That explains the duck. Cute cat, that's Zeus. He, I think, is no longer with us on this planet. And a teacup. Some watercolor feathers that I stuck in just to fill a page up, and then that is the other impasto attempt that I mentioned from the start of the book. This worked a bit better, but I don't know. It's meant to like transfer the layer of ink from the magazine page if you do it right. This is a reference that I used for my folio in high school. And then the last couple pages, what does this say? Start streaming again, download OBS, make an overlay, create scenes again, get a second camera, decide plug plan, bonus bonds. Oh, I thought it said hands for a second. Also, there's a literal recipe list. That is a drawing that my friend did in high school. It says to is from Bailey, which I think is also a portrait of me. And then the last page, which is us passing notes. What did you do? What the fuck? What did you do to claim power? How did you feel when Napoleon betrayed you? How did you feel about the way Napoleon brought power to the farm? Wait a minute, is this from the fucking... that book by George Orwell? This is Animal Farm, I think. Does the evidence... So I was doing work in here. Lovely. And then I've written some things in reverse. And I've also done some maths. I don't know what this means, but it's in my book. Flip. What does it say? Because I can't be bothered. Here we go. Oh, alright. We wrote this in reverse, in mirror. I know, right? Teenagers! What are you gonna do about it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching my sketchbook tour. This is, I would say this is maybe the second or third sketchbook that I had at the time, and I do not... I don't do, like, I don't fill one sketchbook at a time. I've got like 4 or 5 on the go, usually, so they kind of get finished sporadically. I do have a good amount of them complete. That shelf there is all finished sketchbooks, which is pretty nice to see. So I will slowly chip through showing those to you guys in probably some sort of order, but just in case there's no order, I don't know. Yeah, I was gonna pull out my oldest sketchbook, but it was, shit. It was bad, so that one probably won't make its way on here. Not for a long time, at least. Yeah. I'll probably, if I ever do, it'll be like a comparison of like, here's where I was when I was 7, like, you know, that sort of thing. So anyway, thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me while I go through my sketchbook. And thank you to my coffee members who help me keep the lights on. Feel free to catch me on Twitch for some random sketchbook pages. Sometimes you'll see those, and sometimes you won't. It's alright though. Well, I've covered all of my notes, except for please like, comment, and subscribe. Oh my god, fumbling again. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Thank you. No.